You got to be true to yourself with what's most important to you. For me, faith, family, friends. If you're not really conversing, if you're not really connecting, I think us human beings were created to connect. Life is never better alone. When I went to school, I was the only one who looked like me, and I felt like I was the only one in the world that was like me. I really started thinking about my life. I would be forced to just sit and think about life while I can't do everything that everyone's doing. I'm thinking, wait a second, the teachers who's standing next to me, they're here employed. My mom and dad are employed. What am I gonna be? What if I'm not employed? And so at ages 6, 7, 8, I started asking the bigger questions. I can't do everything. I can do some, but man, am I ever gonna get married? Am I gonna be bullied for the rest of my life? And so those fears started creeping in for sure. And what I found though, gradually over ages 8 to 12, through my years of depression, that actually bottomed out at an attempted suicide at age 10. As far as bullying is concerned, obviously I have a self-esteem, knowing the truth and holding on to the truth and seeing the track record of how a man without arms and legs can still live a life without limits. And not to say that everything is possible, but I'm living my possible. I've redefined impossible from what the world has said and what I thought I couldn't do. But now I'm living an awesome life. I really got to be thankful for what I have instead of being angry for what I don't have.
Oh my gosh.
And my parents always said, be thankful. They were refugees as children leaving former Yugoslavia. So they always said, be thankful. When I wanted something from the store, they wouldn't give it to me. They said, make your own money and buy it. So I'd vacuum the floor for $2 a week. I would figure it out. But to really be thankful for what you have, you know that saying, you don't know what you got till it's gone. And then the other thing that really sealed my path of hope was my faith decision in believing that there is a God who loves me, that heaven is real, and that even when you don't get a miracle, you can still be a miracle. And then it all started, a speaking career out of a janitor who worked at my high school. I was 17 years old. And I just got voted onto the student government body. And he said, you got voted on the government body. I said, yes. He said, you're going to be a speaker. I said, you're crazy. I said, what am I going to speak about? He said, your story. I said, I don't have a story. He was the one who organized my first speech. What I've learned is I'm not the only one going through something, and I'm never telling anyone that I'm going through something worse than anybody. I tell teenagers all the time, I believe it's worse being in a broken home than having no arms and legs. And so someone who's gone through a broken home, I can't encourage them as much as someone who has come on the other side and say, I know how that feels. Me, like a limbless boy, that's the beautiful thing. I've met another limbless boy. I've met 30 people. Now he knows that if Uncle Nick can do it, then I can do it. When I don't get a miracle, it doesn't mean I can't be a miracle for someone else. And so millions of dollars, or me helping little Daniel help him, when he was getting bullied at school, I went in my wheelchair and I ran them all over. No, I didn't. I went there and I did a quick 15-minute speech about bullying, right? And now, not only did he go through the rest of his elementary and middle school unbullied because now he accepts himself. People stop teasing him and they stop teasing everyone else. I'm like, hey guys, we're all valuable. We all have a purpose. We all have story, and we can all make the world a better place. Money, drugs, sex, alcohol, pornography, fame and fortune. If you put your happiness in temporary things, your happiness will be temporary. The challenge is something that we shouldn't just say, I'm going to ignore it. I'm going to walk away from it. I'm gonna never address that. I'm never gonna, no. The sooner you address the things, even me, Ed, the speaker who's traveled around the world, it took me 10 years to forgive the family who didn't think that I was good enough for their family, for her. You gotta be true to yourself with what's most important to you. For me, faith, family, friends. If you're not really conversing, if you're not really connecting, I think us human beings were created to connect. Life is never better alone. If you're not married, then all you have to worry about is you, yourself, and you. And then say, okay, I don't have other. It is being present and being honest. And when you're a humble person who can humbly say you're a humble person, you have no greed, ego, need to prove nothing to nobody, and you honestly look at yourself and say, okay, this is who I am, this is what I have. No point in wishing this, wishing that. This is what I'm gonna do to my best ability. So when you have an attitude that approaches adversity, that is quite resilient. A resilient approach to adversity helps you to look at something and say, okay, these are the first 3 reasons why it seems extremely difficult. And the average person is going to say, okay, I have good enough reason not to. No. Einstein said, genius is when you're obsessed with impossible. And when you look at impossible, that's when you become fearless. I just want you to know that when you go through adversity, I want you to know to hold on. I want you to know, despite what you see, despite what you feel, despite what you know, you're here for a good reason. And it doesn't mean that all of life is good, but you're here through a good purpose. And you're like, well, wait a second, how could anything good come out of my life? Nick, I got this, I got that. Well, first of all, I'm not comparing my pain to you, but I have no arms and legs. And I had a choice to either be thankful for what I had, do my best, and take one day at a time, or give up.